So you're worried about getting downloads and likes and views, but what do you want to do with them? And if you don't have an answer, this is part of why your show might feel directionless or like it's not worth your time. And that's because downloads aren't the destination, and they're very much treated that way. Downloads, likes, views, all that kind of stuff, they are the means to a destination. And so today we're going to talk about what's missing from your strategy if you don't have a plan for what to do with your audience and how you can incorporate it into your business. So, welcome to It's Not Just Talking, where we help coaches, consultants, and other people who are the face of their business power their marketing through podcasting. And I'm your executive producer, Vince Quinn. Taylor Cradatis is watching on the other side and waiting for me to make mistakes so he can laugh at me, I'm sure. But that's a different issue for a different day. And later in the show, we're going to talk about a holiday challenge for you. But first, we will keep it on the strategy element here. So, look, as a business owner, there's really two basic halves of the content creation aspect. One of them is you are creating the content to build an audience. Sure, right? That's what we just talked about, all these likes and views and things like that. But the second thing, and this is really the more important thing, is that you want to convert members of your audience into customers. And I can't tell you how common of a gap that this is that we run into people or that we run into with different customers and just people that we talk to. And there's a lot of reasons for this when you break it down. Like it's a very simple and practical problem for people to have in a way, because when you think about it, one, everybody's in the entertainment mindset, right? And we talk about this all the time on the show, but this is not an entertainment vehicle. You're not doing this for the download numbers to get sponsors. You are doing this to sell. But when you're going into podcasting with the mindset of, yeah, I'm going to get this big audience and do all these big things, like you naturally drive everything, all of your attention, all of your energy around this idea of how are we getting those numbers, and just hoping that people will end up calling you at some point just out of the blue. They'll just take extra steps and go and find you. So that is a problem. Being in that kind of mindset won't help you. The other thing is, just on the simple level of it, is that the numbers are considered valuable socially. And so even if you're not necessarily thinking about it from that entertainment mindset of that business model, if you will, it's just people naturally think, hey, I got 30 likes on that post. That was really good. Like it makes you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside to get those kinds of results, that type of validation that comes from these likes and comments and everything else that you get, that are these artificial metrics. So you might not be thinking about that business model and getting the sponsors necessarily, but your whole idea is you see the people get good traction on things with social media and the kinds of content that they generate. You're looking to get that kind of validation as well. And so that's where you put your energy. That's why you're not focusing on conversion. So that's a problem. Now, the other issue that you might get, and this is something that I've dealt with myself in a very real way for as long as we got this business rolling and I've been in business, is sales is something that a lot of people are allergic to. And so the idea of, oh my God, I need to sell something, I need to tell these people to buy, I'm incredibly uncomfortable with that. I don't want to do that, right? Sales is gross. Sales is people in door-to-door salesmen, people, it's people at car dealerships that are trying to rip you off. They're slick, they're greasy, all the stereotypes that you come down to with sales are those kinds of things that you might have absorbed over the years, which I certainly did through pop culture and everything else. And the idea of selling is not what I wanted to do. So I just ignored it. I really, it's just, hey, I'm just going to make all this stuff and hope for the best and hope that everything comes around. And, I'm just going to be a good guy and make good content and like, it'll all work itself out. But that's not necessarily the case. Right. So sure, I've been able to, build relationships and have some good things come just from the content being made. But you do need to make it easy for people to go and buy your stuff, because that's why you're making this. You're making all of this content on behalf of your business to get the awareness out, to turn people into customers. So you need to acknowledge the sales aspect of it. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And so, when you're thinking about it in such a negative way, it might be hard for you to look at it in the content and say, yes, I'm going to sell in my content. I mean, it's at the point where I've talked to enough people doing this kind of work where they literally don't even mention the name of their business anywhere in the show. Anywhere. It's not in the title of the show. It's not in the description of the show. It's not in the show notes for any given episode. It's not in the intro. It's not in the outro. They're just whoever they are. No title, like nothing. That they're just a person making this content. And you can understand why that's such a big problem because, again, you're just not doing any of the business things that you're trying to introduce people to deep down. Like that really is what you're looking to do is sell. And so that's why you're in business. Like that's why you're making this kind of stuff. So embrace selling. You have to understand that that is part of what this is all about. And the last part of all of this in terms of like why people, why this happens all the time, why this is such a common problem, why you might be dealing with this too, is when you're not thinking about sales and you're allergic to sales, you don't want to do sales or acknowledge sales, well, then you don't have a clear sales process. And this is where it gets really complicated because obviously you do need to convert people into customers, right? So you need to have a business solution for how you convert people into paying you. And what is that? What is your process? What do you want people to do? What have you tried? Does it work? Does it not work? At what rate is it working? These are the kinds of things that you need to consider because everything is about conversion. So what is your business process? And sometimes people literally just like, oh, I don't know. I just kind of, figured out. And occasionally I get on a call with somebody, but it's not really a formal thing. I just send them a casual Google Meet or something. And eventually we figure it out. But one, I'll tell you that from a business side, it is going to be a lot easier for you if you start to regiment those things a little bit more and understand that, yes, there is going to be a little bit of movement here and there from person to person, but really it's not that unique. It's not that different. Everybody's dealt with sales. There are a million different processes that you can implement into your business. I would say if you don't have a sales funnel, like this whole way of guiding people through and converting them to a customer that's a part of your business, like go research those things, go find books, go listen to podcasts, watch other YouTube content, whatever you want to do. There's a lot of ways to go about it. And there's a lot of people who have built their careers and lives on it. But you need that because you are a business and you need that definitive process. So just these are the kinds of things that keep propping up that are these obstacles. So even if you are aware or, you were in that entertainment mindset, whatever it might be, I think it's pretty clear that, there's a lot of reasons why conversion is lacking. And you can understand again that this is really what's important. This is what it's all about. As much as it really, is more fun, it's more exciting, it might be more engaging to go and make the content and put on a good show and get reactions. And that does feel better than going through the sales process. Getting paid is going to feel pretty good. So get paid, right? Like think about these kinds of things. Likes don't feed your family. So we need to convert people into customers. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit more about a few things that you can do to make that happen, what that process looks like in a little more detail. And that is right after this. If you're looking for more ways to grow your business through podcasting, sign up for the SBX newsletter. The link is right here in the show notes. And each week in your inbox, you're going to get tips, opinions, strategies, all the things that we talk about here on the show in your inbox. The SBX newsletter right here in the show notes. So let's talk about some of the basics of conversion further. And the overarching idea on the philosophy is you want to get people in your funnel and you want to progress them through it. So if people are just aware of you, they understand that you exist, well, you want them to take steps that are a little more committed to you. Are you getting them to follow your different accounts, right? Subscribing to your show. Those are kinds of things that are valuable. And that's all the top of mind, top of funnel kinds of things. And that's why a lot of this content is valuable because that's the starting point. People see you scrolling on social media, or when they are hearing about you in other ways, that's the first thing they're going to do, right? They're going to say, oh, I just heard about it. It happened to us literally today. So let me give you an example of, again, today. So me and Taylor, as we're recording this, we are running an ad campaign. And I know that on some level because people looked at my LinkedIn profile. So they were checking me out. There were people that were absolutely in the audience of this place where we advertised. They wanted to check me out. We're making all of this different content. They looked at it all. They will call me or they will not, or they're curious and they're just trying to figure out what I'm about. And maybe they weren't going to be a customer anyway, but whatever. The whole thing is that they are trying to understand who I am, what the company is about, the kind of problems I solve. Is it relevant to them? And are they going to take the next step? But you're making all of the content for that reason. It's giving that information. It's building those relationships that people are open to it. And it's creating opportunity for you to turn these people and convert them into customers. So that's awareness. But you do want to progress people. And that's part of what your content is. That's why you have calls to action in your content. That's why you might want to post things about the business side of what you do and invite people to be a part of it. And that's advancing people through your funnel. One of the ways to do that might be getting their information where it's an email, right? So now I've gone from somebody who's a little more passive. They just subscribed on LinkedIn, for example. They follow me on LinkedIn or the business on LinkedIn, but now they're going to download the 9 steps to start a podcast, which is a lead magnet that we have. Maybe they go check that out. Now I've got their information. Now they're on our newsletter. And now I'm getting them more in the funnel. They're more engaged. They're seeing our content more regularly. I'm mentioning the newsletter in the podcast with the idea that maybe they hear it there and people go and subscribe. But again, you can see how it's a progression now where it's you're advancing people from I don't know who you are. Oh, I'm aware of who you are. Okay, I'm interested in this. I'm going to subscribe a little bit further. Okay, now I really trust you and I think I know what you're talking about. I want more of this. And so now they're getting newsletters or subscribing on more places or whatever it might be. And then ideally, what you want to do, and for us, I'll just tell you what we do. I mean, the whole thing is getting people on a call, right? For us, it's a compass call. And that whole idea is hey, you're a business owner, you've got a podcast, you're having a hard time. Let's hop on the compass call. We're going to talk about everything that you've got going on. Let's talk about specific problems you've got. We're going to solve those problems. I want people on those calls because it's gives them a taste of who we are and what we do, and it gets me to understand their show and what their actual problems are, and also make sure it's a proper fit. Because there's plenty of people that I talk to through doing those calls that they're not the right match for us because of what that show is. But either way, it all boils down to I'm getting them on that call. That's my main point of conversation. That's my main path of the funnel where I'm going and converting people. So I want to get people on that call. You might be wanting to get people on your call. A lot of people, especially service providers, when you're doing these things in one-on-one and working with clients, you want people on the call. Right? Like, sure, if you're in the situation where, hey, getting people to just go and click and buy and you've got some product or whatever that way, great. Like, what is that for you? And how do you implement that throughout your funnel where you're directing people or mentioning to people all the time that they can work with you and they can take that action to go and do it? That's the kind of stuff that you want. And so ultimately, after you're getting people on that call, then assuming it is the right fit, you're having the right conversation, they've got the kind of budget, all those different things. Now you've got the opportunity to go and close. So that is the, general idea. Again, this is all I'm giving you some things about how we do it. And there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I mean, look at other businesses, like established businesses that are well run, see what they're encouraging you to do. I mean, just look at their website, look at their emails. Like, how are they encouraging you to buy? Does that align with your business and the way that you operate? And maybe you can take that funnel. Like I said earlier, with all the research that you can do about specific funnels and incorporating them into your business to support conversion. Like, maybe that's the kind of funnel that you're looking for. But be on the lookout for those types of things so that you can incorporate it. Because again, if you're just making all of this content and going, hey, I've got all this audience, but you're not mentioning that, hey, you do have a call and they can get on that call and you will help them on that call and they can become a client and you will solve their problems all the time. And wouldn't that be great? Well, then they don't know. They're just sitting there. So that's part of why it's such a frustrating thing for people, because you might know that there are people that are consuming your stuff that are willing to buy, but you just haven't invited them to do it. So that's really what this is all about. Is you're giving people that invitation because they trust you, because they keep consuming your stuff. They want more of what you do. They identify with the problem that you've presented and know that you solve it. So solve it for them, right? But you have to reach out and allow people to do that, because otherwise, sometimes the barrier for them to go and seek that out themselves, if they're not fully sure of what you do, then they don't know. So it's totally harmless. But you might have clients just sitting in your audience right now, and you just haven't taken the opportunity to capitalize on it. So think about that and see how you can incorporate these things, this kind of process into your content. So with that being, the overall idea of how these kinds of funnels can work, what I want to do is in just a minute, I want to talk about how you can take a specific time of the year to drive more sales in addition to these funnels. But we will hold that thought. Anyway, if you are looking for help with the kinds of content and building a bigger audience, let's sit down and talk about it, right? I just mentioned the Compass call. That is what we do. So I sit down for 30 minutes. I want to understand everything about your business. I want to know the show that you're running. I want to know the problems that you've got. And let's go and talk about those things in detail. I am here to solve your problems and make it easy for you to find those next steps to go and grow your show, fix your show, streamline your show so that you can grow your business. So that's what we do for existing business owners. And if you're just worried about how do I take that first step, I'm interested in a show, I'm making this content, but I want to do a full podcast and have the strategy with it, same thing. I'll help get you started on that process. Go to freepodcasthelp.com. That is freepodcasthelp.com. You'll get a free 30-minute Compass call to move you in the right direction. So with that, as we're doing this, holiday season is coming up, and the holidays on some level are nauseating because you walk through a store, it is the day after Halloween now in some cases, and it's littered with Christmas shit. And it's just like it's Christmas music and there's Christmas candy and it's like there's still skeleton costumes on the discount rack two aisles over, but everything's Christmas now. So okay, I get it. It's a little bit exhausting. It can be frustrating, or maybe you're one of those people that just loves Christmas and you listen to Christmas music all year round and you're a psychopath. I'm sorry. But with that, like, here's the thing. Why is it that way? Why is it that Christmas is everywhere and it's encroached over the years? It's become a bigger and bigger season because it's a massive buying season. And businesses have gotten so good at capitalizing on that energy and just nailing people again and again and again and again with all of these different things of the kinds of deals that they can take advantage of during this time. And so it's gotten to where it started, which is buying gifts for other people. It's it's that, but there's a lot of buying for yourself too, right? I mean, have you ever taken advantage of a Black Friday deal to get something for yourself, a Cyber Monday deal to fill up some things in your house? I mean, these are big discounts, right? These are special deals. Sometimes they only come around once a year, depending on the kinds of things that you're looking at or what that business is. So you're going to go and take that deal, right? You're going to go and buy. People are in the buying mindset just on a personal level, on a social level. They're ready to go. They know that's the expectation for this time of year. And beyond that, from a business side, I mean, people are looking at Q1. Hey, we're going to wrap this year. We're going to have a holiday party, but we've got goals for next year, and we're going to be setting budgets. So you know what I mean? Like they want things to happen in the next year. They've always got vision for stuff that they want to do in Q1, which means this is an opportunity now in the next couple of months to get things ready for Q1. And if you're in the kind of service, for example, where maybe that's advantageous to you, something to think about. But I mention all of this because what you should consider as you look at all of these different brands and deals and things that are going to be pouring in is how do you capitalize on it? Make it easy for them to access the solution that you provide, right? That's all this is. So embrace that and come up with what is some type of promotion that I can run during the holiday season to get people to convert. And so go and implement that thing. And it might not work. Like that's okay too, right? The whole obviously you want it to, but if you haven't been doing these kinds of things, it's going to take time potentially, and you need to try. So what I would recommend is pick one thing, one single promotion that you're going to run, and with that, hit it constantly. let people know for a long time, more than you think you should, on multiple platforms that this offer is available and that they can engage with it. Because people, you might post it once and go, oh, well, I didn't get traction on this. I don't know. Should I do it again? Maybe nobody's interested. It might just be that nobody saw it, or they saw it and they're kind of interested, but you know what? They're not going to really resonate with it until you hit them for the fifth time. And you're like, fifth time? Yeah. You have to promote these things constantly. Think about all these big companies, all these ads they run. You might see 3 ads from the same company in the same hour of a television show, right? And then think about what that looks like throughout the day and all the other platforms that they're advertising on, and what that digital ad spend is and the other shows. And like, you pile up everything and it's crazy. In-store promotion, like they are telling people every second of every day in every single way that they can that they need to capitalize on this opportunity. So you should do the same, right? Sometimes these big businesses are, as much as they're radically different in terms of the scale and how they operate, there are things you can take from that. And it's, how can you introduce your special promotion as many times as you can? So I know time is getting tight here, but start thinking about it and come up with something you can reasonably execute, right? Don't over prepare this. You just want to try something useful for your business in this limited time sensitive window and take the results and run from there. If it goes well, it might be something you can run all year round, right? You might be able to do this multiple times a year at different pockets when it's relevant to you. Like, that's a great lesson, right? Think of all the potential money that could be there, the potential conversions that you could get. But you just need to have these plans in place. So think about your pipeline, think about how you're converting people into it, think about special promotions and how you can capitalize on this holiday season. And if you have podcast problems, think of us, right? You could hit us up at freepodcasthelp.com. So thank you. That is all we have today. And if you've made it to the end, as always, just give us a quick 5 stars. Pull out your phone right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it's just a nice way for us to know, honestly, that you made it this far. We have gotten a couple of 5 stars to come through, so very much appreciate that for everybody who has done it so far. But if you haven't yet, again, whatever app you're listening on, however that is, just give us 5 stars. Would mean the world. So thanks for your time. Talk to you soon.